if you're going to make those mistakes, if you're going to play at that level defensively, which we have seen Alabama do all year long, we have also seen UConn absolutely wreck teams that make those mistakes or have those weaknesses.
This is VSiN Prime Time with Tim Murray and Jonathan Von Tobel on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The nightcap will pit the unstoppable force outside of aviation, UConn versus Alabama. 11.5, 12 is what we've seen this number kind of hovering around. UConn laying that number, and as we have discussed regarding UConn, they have won 10 consecutive games in the NCAA tournament. They won the national championship just a year ago. They have covered every single one of those games, and they have covered at a 14 points per game clip. They have been phenomenal. Can Alabama, a team that you talk about variance, this is a team that, I'll be honest, I did not want to back much in this NCAA tournament because they're so reliant on the three and they're so poor defensively, and they run at a breakneck pace with a top 10 pace in the country, averaging over 72 possessions per game. That all being said, can we talk ourselves into this being an overinflated line? I thought it was an overinflated line against Illinois. What happened? Illinois tied the game at 23, and then UConn decided to go on a 30-0 run. It doesn't seem like there is a number you can make high enough right now how well this UConn team is playing. When you look at Alabama, JVT, is this a team that can threaten UConn and pull off, I don't even say the upset, just keep this within the number, which no one has done in 2 years in the NCAA tournament?
I think it's obviously a possibility. When you just look at how the world works and how basketball works, you come out, you shoot very well, then you're going to be able to stay inside of a number like this because it is a very big number. And pretty much, I mean, I know they've been covering every single one of these numbers, and by the rate that they have, Tim, I don't think there's any argument that we're at the top of the market here with UConn. Like this, so all of those factors would say yes. Having said that, UConn still has a lot that's going for them here in this matchup, obviously. But the first is when you look at Alabama defensively, 291st in the country in terms of defensive turnover rate. You're not going to force turnovers. At least history would tell us that. Your numbers would tell us that. You're probably going to get crushed on the offensive glass. You're 272nd in the country in defensive rebounding rate. You foul a lot. You're 311th in defensive foul rate. So if you look at all of these things together, if you're going to make those mistakes, if you're going to play at that level defensively, which we have seen Alabama do all year long, we have also seen UConn absolutely wreck teams that make those mistakes or have those weaknesses. I keep going back to Marquette. One of the big weaknesses was that Marquette can't offensive rebound or just rebound in general, and UConn killed them on the glass in their matchups in this regular season, and it led to some lopsided victories. That's what gets me on the favorite side here. I don't know if I'm going to lay this because, again, we're at the market high, but I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that it would be Alabama, or excuse me, Freudian slip, UConn or pass when it comes to laying this number.
I think the only way I would get involved, and I've heard a couple people kind of look at it this way, is to chop this game in half and say, maybe you get a hot half from Alabama. Do you look at plus 6.5? Maybe the market gets to 7 on Alabama in the first half. They come out, they're hitting their threes. But over a 40-minute stretch, I find it hard to believe UConn's losing this game. And against a defense that is so, let's just say, weak, I don't really want to trust Alabama slowing down this UConn freight train.